Being a single woman and being homeless is really hard, especially being out here by yourself, because you get preyed on a lot by, men. And I've been assaulted. I can't even count how many times I've been assaulted anymore. And it's gotten to the point where it's like broken me down, because it's like it's never gonna stop. And then it got me to the point where I felt like that's all I was worth. And that's what it's doing to our young women. These young women, they come out on the streets and they become homeless. And these men they prey on people's addictions, and they take advantage of young women with their sexual desires. And I watched the life being sucked out of these women's eyes, slowly. And it breaks my heart, because if I feel like it's never gonna end, they probably feel that way too, And so it's like you need protection. And that's when I found Camp Neocasi. And it's like I finally had that protection. I felt safe for the first time in a long time in my life. I had my own tent, and I could lock my tent. And I used to make it really difficult to get in my tent. You'd have to zigzag into the tarps to get in. But the front door wasn't right there when you come in. You'd have to go all the way around the back, and that's where the door was. And it was really obnoxious, but it was for me, and I felt safe in that. And everybody in the camp, also, they all protect me, And so it's for the first time I had that protection, but it's scary being out on the streets as a woman, especially when you're alone.
What are some of the... So, do you know, what happened to everybody after the eviction? Do you think there was more women thrown into more vulnerable situations? Do you know if there was programs that was helping women from that camp?
They claimed, so there was more than 100 of us left at camp. And they claimed that they had two shelters for us, but one bed only had 40 beds and the other one only had 20 beds. That's only 60 beds. That's not even, that's half of the people there. And the housing people, granted, they're doing a great job, but they're very iffy on when they come. They were coming every, once a week, and then they were coming every day. And then they were coming Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then you wouldn't see them at all. And then they started coming again. And so it's I filled out my housing assessment when I first moved in, and they didn't even talk to me until almost eviction. And it's I'm not understanding why I even did the assessment in the beginning if you guys weren't even going to keep up with me. And that's what I told them. I got frustrated. I don't even get cash assistance right now, and all I need is a medical opinion form. But my worker keeps telling me she's going to give me a ride, and then she doesn't show up. She was supposed to be here today at 11, didn't show up. And it's frustrating because they make these promises and then they don't come through on the promises. But there was no help for none of us. And not only that, we lost majority of our stuff. I lost majority of my stuff because we moved it from one area to another. And after 6 hours, the police was no more. You can't, nothing else, get out or we're arresting you. And there was still a lot of stuff back at camp, and they threw it all in the garbage. Instead of just letting us peacefully take it, we weren't causing any issues or problems. We wanted to leave peacefully, and we wanted to clean the camp up, but they didn't even give us the opportunity to do that. Instead, they wasted how much money getting the police and them to clean it up when we would have did it for free, and you could have saved all of that money. But when it comes to the shelters, you have to call every day for a shelter bed, and you have to at 10 a.m. you call, and then they tell you which shelter you'll go to, and then between 1 and 4 you have to check into that shelter bed, and then you have to be there by 10 o'clock. But at 7 a.m. you have to get out, and you have to call again for your bed. Every day you have to call for your bed. Well, I don't have a cell phone. How am I supposed to call a shelter bed? And they asked me if I wanted to go into a shelter and come to the new camp. I told them I'd go into a shelter, and they came and told me, oh, well, there's no spot for you. Okay, so now I plan on going to a shelter, but now I'm stuck back out here again. You know what I mean? I've lost majority of all my stuff already, and it's I have housing, but I still got all these steps to go to get the housing. And I just feel defeated in it, because it's like they dangle the housing in front of you, they show you the apartment, and they do all this stuff, but it's it takes you months to get the apartment.
While you were saying that, the wind picked up quite a bit at one point, and I just want to ask, what is it like in the weather out here? We've got, I think the lows are going to be something like -25 or something on Tuesday or the weekend.
Really cold. It's going to get super cold. It's gonna be super cold. It already is cold, and it's like if you like, I've been having problems starting fires in my yurt, you know, and like if you can't get that fire going, then you're pretty much screwed because you're gonna freeze to death. And somebody stole all my blankets, so now I don't have blankets. But thank God I do have a propane tank, so I do have a heater. But even so, what do I do when the propane runs out? So right now we've been asking for donations for fire starters. And so, like, I just got a couple of fire starters, so after I'm done here, I'm gonna go start my fire. But really, without a fire starter, it's kind of hard to start a fire from just nothing. Once you get your fire going and you have coals, then you can just throw the wood in and you can just blow on it and it'll catch. But like, if you're starting a fire from, like, if you don't get up every couple hours and put wood in your fire at night, you're gonna freeze to death because your fire will go out. Now you're tired and you're trying to start a fire from nothing because all your coals are dead because you were sleeping. Now you're freezing. So it's like you gotta take shifts like mending the fire when you're trying to sleep at night. So it can be really difficult to keep up with like staying warm. It really can. Like you'll go to sleep warm, but you'll wake up freezing your butt off. So I just layer up now. Oh, and if you put hand warmers in your sleeping bag, that'll keep you warm too. Or like if you heat up like it has to be like a glass water bottle, but like if you get like the water bottle hot, you can put the water bottle in your sleeping bag. That'll keep you warm too. I always sleep with a hat on my head too, because you lose your heat through your head and your feet. Fun fact.
And last question, you shared something with me personally off camera. Is there any thoughts that or anything that you would like to share with regard to like encampments and this encampment specifically and like harm reduction?
Well, I think they're pretty good at harm. Like, if I wasn't at this camp, I don't think I'd be alive right now. Honestly, I think I'd be dead because being here, we have Narcan everywhere, like literally everywhere. And people are trained, like we all know how to use it and we're good at like responding really quick. And we do have a lot of people that come for harm reduction that bring us the supplies. And so that does help us a lot. Like when, especially, no lie, I am an IV user. And so with being an IV user, HIV and Hep C is like very high, the chances of me catching it. But because of harm reduction, I get clean needles all the time. I got clean supplies all the time. I don't have to reuse anything, which I never did before because I was a phlebotomist, so I'm really picky about it. But you can, hopefully that'll keep reducing the numbers down. But harm reduction does help us out a lot. People think that it like is encouraging us to use, but it doesn't matter. No judge, lawyer, kids, mom, dad, nobody can make nobody get sober unless they want to personally get sober. And so if a person isn't ready to get sober, they're not going to do that. But to give them the supplies that they need so they don't get sick, I think is a great idea, you know, because they're going to use it anyway. So why have them reuse old stuff and like heighten the risk of getting some very serious diseases when we could just give them the clean supplies, you know? Because, and I like the fact that they like have stopped putting people in jail for like having like paraphernalia, because jail is not the solution for addicts. Jail is not the solution. As soon as we get out of jail, we just go right back to what we're doing. But the problem is being sober in jail, you'll get out and you'll go back to what you were doing, the amount you were doing before, and a lot of people are dying because of that, because they'll OD. But like here, it was sad. We've only had one death by OD, and they were alone. But other than that, we've had a ton of reversals, and that's because we have Narcan all throughout the whole camp, and we all know how to use it, and we all know CPR, and so we all pretty much help each other. Nobody uses alone here. So I think they need to keep it up.
Thank you.